Justice Department reopens the preliminary investigation into the hazing death of University of Santo Tomas freshman law student Horacio Castillo III. The case was originally set for resolution last year, but the sensational affidavit of suspect-turned-witness Mark Ventura prompted its reopening. Ventura, in his affidavit, names the members of Aegis Jurors fraternity who allegedly carried out the fatal hazing rites on Castillo. The affidavit was not taken into consideration in earlier investigations because the panel had not received it at the time. The panel received the affidavit only on January 3 this year. This comes as good news for the Castillo family because Ventura is the only fraternity member to admit to the hazing that he participated in. Before Ventura, fratman John Paul Solano detailed what he knew, but later led a defense strategy of pointing to Castillo's alleged pre-existing heart condition as cause of death. ISIS is taking refuge in its virtual caliphate while on the brink of defeat in Iraq and Syria. Researcher Charlie Winter of King's College London says ISIS is less and less vocal on the web because their many media centers have been destroyed, largely leaving supporters whom it cannot control to speak in its name. Winter has been studying ISIS communications for years. This is in contrast to 2015, when it also commanded a huge digital presence, flooding the web with slick propaganda lionizing their fighters and romanticizing life under their rule. In 2015, its propagandists produced content from 38 different media offices from West Africa to Afghanistan. But by December, more than 3/4 of these outlets were supposedly almost totally silenced. Between November 8 and 9 last year, ISIS even went completely silent for a full 24 hours in what was an unprecedented break from social media. These days, ISIS propagandists mostly use the web to encourage supporters to launch attacks on their own initiative, with a much weakened group unable to play a direct hand in organizing them. These calls are often issued via the deep web, a heavily encrypted part of the internet which is almost impossible to regulate. It also uses the Telegram app. United States President Donald Trump on Wednesday says America could conceivably return to the Paris Climate Accord, but stopped short of signaling any move in that direction. Trump announced his intention to pull out of the 2015 Accord on curbing global warming emissions last June. He says, quote, "Frankly, it's an agreement that I have no problem with. I had a problem with the agreement that they signed, because as usual, they made a bad deal, so we can conceivably go back in." The process of leaving is long and complex, and Trump's comments will renew questions about whether he actually intends to withdraw or simply wants easier U.S. emissions targets. A full U.S. pullout will jeopardize global efforts to limit average warming to under 2 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial revolution levels.